to the RC Audio Sports Weekly Vodcast. I'm Bobby Mendez alongside Hailey Wilson, Coach Villafranca. And in today's episode, girls basketball is in the tournament phase of the season. We have shout outs and an incredible web jam to share. But before we get into all that, let's begin with the vodcast with the 12-5A football. Of course, we're coming off a Frontier Bowl where all of us were in attendance for. It was the 58th annual Frontier Bowl. The Harlandale Indians did take that win 40-21. They now lead the series 33-23-2, 33 wins, 23 losses, and 2 ties is the records for the Frontier Bowl. Indians are on a 10-game winning streak. 2012 began that for the Harlandale Indians, and Coach Albert Torres has won his first 5 Frontier Bowl games as head coach of the Harlandale Indians, which is a first for the Harlandale program. Also, we were witness to a record-breaking performance for the Harlandale Indians. That was Andrew Perez, number 22 for the Harlandale Indians. He broke the single rushing record for Harlandale running back. He had an amazing 272 yards with 3 rushing touchdowns. However, the overall Frontier Bowl record itself is still intact. That belongs to Mike Villanueva, class of 1982 for the McCullum Cowboys. He had 282 yards in that Frontier Bowl game. So just a little lead in to our show and to the 12-5A talking points here for our podcast. And Hailey, you were there to talk about, or not to talk about, but you were there to experience a little bit of the pregame tailgating action.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Good food, good people, good music. I had a very good time there. I had a couple of different brisket tacos that I was literally just looking at pictures at on my phone, like 20 minutes before we jumped on here to record the vodcast. But it was great. I mentioned it on the last podcast, but the community around the game and the spirit and everyone getting together, for me, that's the most exciting part. Obviously, it's fun to watch some great football, but the pregame stuff, the cooking, some of the class reunions. Bobby, you were telling me that some of the police working out in the game were Harlandale alum. I mean, it's just really cool stuff. So excited to have been there. Ate some great food. I got to watch the game on candid camera on the KCWX app. And already looking forward to next year.
What a great environment it was, Hailey. And you're exactly right. It started at 8:00 in the morning with tailgating and all the way through midnight ended with tailgating. Somewhere in between, there was a football game, and we all enjoyed that. But what an atmosphere. And I think that we put Frontier Bowl aside for the year, and immediately we're looking forward to next year. Isn't that always the case?
Yeah.
Bobby, that's the regular season behind us. The Frontier Bowl wrapped up the regular season for everyone that was playing football. That was week 11 in high school football, and we've got the playoffs ahead. And of course, in the first round of the playoffs, 12-5A D1 has 4 representatives tonight, and we got a couple of Thursday night games this week and a couple of Friday night games. We're going to open up Thursday Seguin at Manor, and Vets Memorial at Weiss. On Friday, we've got Cedar Park traveling to Buda Johnson, and Georgetown traveling to Dripping Springs. Hailey, I think you've got Vets Memorial and Pflugerville Weiss.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah, so we're getting started off in the Bio-District round again. Vets Memorial Weiss. Vets Memorial, someone that our Vodcast listeners and RC Audio Sports listeners have probably heard us talk about and cover several times this season. Coming in with an overall record 6-4, and coming off of a win last week against Kyle Lehman, 42-21. But we've had the chance, like I said, to cover and watch this team a couple of different times this year. They're really, really fun to watch. I think Vets Memorial, probably similar to you two, the first person that comes to my mind is running back James Peoples, who has been our player of the game not once, but twice this season. double-digit touchdowns on the season, has rushed for over 900 yards, and it could even be more than that. The stats might be a little outdated that I'm seeing online. But quarterback Alex Alva is also leading the team, having a great season, throwing over 20 touchdowns. Desmond Roberts, a receiver, averaging 16 yards a catch. Landon Drake, a name that we've said before, averaging 12. So that's Memorial is coming out to play. However, Weiss is coming in pretty hot. They're coming with a 9-1 record overall this season, led by quarterback Dior Bradfield, who has a completion percentage of over 70%. You heard me correctly, 70%. And it's averaging 275 plus yards per game. So a couple of strong receivers to watch out for that, we'll probably be hearing a little bit about in our podcast even next week. Micah Gifford, 12 touchdowns this season. Prince Morgan has 10. But Weiss is strong. They lost their first game of the season, got their act together. They lost against Harker Heights and have not lost a single game since the first game of the season. Most recently defeating Georgetown, who we'll talk about in a bit, 63-42. So based on what I know about Veterans Memorial, seeing them in person, based on the stats for Weiss, looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup, Coach, along with Seguin and Manor, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. I've got Seguin and Manor too coming up, and that's one of those third place, second place matchups in the first round. In the first round of playoffs, you have a first place team playing a fourth place team and a second place team playing the third place team in the first round. And those second thirds can be very, very competitive. And Seguin and Manor is one of those. Seguin is 6-4 for the season, but remember, they lost their first two games. They had a brand new head coach this year, and they lost their first two games maybe before they were able to get traction, but they have been hard to beat since then. Their last game of the season, you might recall, they played Dripping Springs, narrowly lost to Dripping Springs in a 32-31 thriller, and Dripping Springs is undefeated and very highly ranked among 5A teams in the state of Texas. So I think Seguin is peaking at the right time. They're the third place representative for 12 5A, playing the second place representative. Manor comes in from 11 5A, a record of 8-2. Max Sports ranks them 16th in the state in 5A programs. Seguin a little bit lower than that at 37th, but I'm not sure about that ranking. That may be putting too much weight on those week 1, week 2 losses for the Matadors. Since then, I think this is going to be really, really close. The Matadors, led by their quarterback, senior quarterback, we had the pleasure of watching them this year. Troy Falgo, over 1,000 yards rushing, 1,767 yards to be exact. His favorite target has been Devin Matthews with 53 receptions, and 11 of those TD passes have gone to Devin. Devin can account for 1,116 yards in the Matadors offense, and the Matadors very balanced. They run the ball very well too. John Jackson is the leading rusher for Seguin. John Jackson was our player of the game when he visited Memorial Stadium. He's led the ground attack, 183 carries, over 1,000 yards. He's averaging 6 yards per carry. So it should be a very good game. Manor's lone loss came to their district champion, Weiss. And Seguin, again, as I mentioned, had a 32-31 loss to a very good Dripping Springs team. Neither Seguin or Manor are district champions, but they're not far away from being that. And this should be a very good 2 versus 3 matchup in the first round.
Yeah, then you got Buda Johnson, who's 9-1, only losing to Dripping Springs. They're hosting Cedar Park, who is out of District 11 5A. Cedar Park coming into this game 5-5, so that's another situation where you've got the second place and the third place team. So I believe there's one other game, Hailey, that is in 12 5A.
The big one that the team we've already mentioned a couple of times, Dripping Springs hosting Georgetown. Dripping Springs, perfect, clean 10-0 record this season, something that we've already talked about today. We've talked about in the weeks past, coming off of a very narrow win last week, like you had said, Coach Villafranca, 32-31 against Seguin. But this game's going to be crazy. I did some digging on Dripping Springs, and their junior quarterback, Austin Novosad, thrown for over 3,000 yards so far this season, on an absolute tear. He has D1 offers, and I'm just going to list a couple. If I listed all of them, we'd be here for hours, but offers from University of Kansas, University of Nevada, University of Colorado, University of Houston, SMU, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt, Texas State, Rice, UTSA. There were literally 5+ more that I could have rattled off, but I had to cut myself off there. So he's doing amazing. Preston Alford, a senior running back on the team, averaging 152 yards a game with 24 touchdowns on the season. So Georgetown, I hate to say it, they do have their work cut out for them this weekend. They're 5-5 on the season, coming off of a loss against Weiss, but prior to that loss, they were on a four-game win streak. So I think they started off the season a little bit slow and started to pick up momentum, and we're on a little bit of a win streak there. They're led by senior quarterback Darson Herman, who won't leave him out, is also receiving some buzz, has some offers from University of Houston, Davidson College, University of Columbia. He's thrown for 15 touchdowns himself and has a completion percentage of over 63%. So he's also, a runner, has 10 touchdowns on the season there on the ground. Devin Ross, who's ran in 7, and Andrew Peter, who's ran in 6. So I would not expect Georgetown and Coach Griffin to lie down and die by all means, but I will say I do think they have their work cut out for them this bi-district round.
And speaking to that point, Hailey, in the Region 3 part of the state UIL bracket, of course, 4 district champions in that part of the bracket. Katie Pato is ranked highest among those district champions at number 9 in the state among 5A D1 schools. Friendswood is in the playoffs as well in that bracket. They're ranked 58th. You got Katie Pato, probably the team to beat as that bracket starts narrowing down, everybody looking at them. But Dripping Springs, or I beg your pardon, Weiss not far behind them at 10, and Dripping Springs only a couple of spots there. So we got some great teams in Region 3. That's going to be an exciting bracket to watch.
Yeah, and we were lucky and fortunate to be a part of a lot of these teams here, as of course in the District 12 5A with veterans Seguin, Buda, Johnson, and Dripping Springs. We were able to catch them. And we talked about that on the last Vodcast, how incredibly competitive that district is and what great athletes are in that district. So that's 12A football. Of course, we're going to continue to follow those schools and as they progress and move on throughout the playoffs. But let's talk a little bit of basketball as the Harlandale ISD and Northside ISD tournaments get underway. Hailey, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have the Harlandale ISD girls basketball tournament getting started Thursday. Harlandale is going to tip off Thursday. They're going to have 2 games against John Paul and Del Rio. McCollum also tipping off on Thursday, getting started with some games against Holy Cross and Kennedy. And then Southside, shocker, getting started on Thursday, taking on Highlands and Del Valley. So on Friday, Harlandale is going to tip off against Brackenridge. McCollum's going to take on East Central. Southside's going to play Del Valley again. So it's safe to say that there's going to be a lot of reps that get in this weekend, a lot of refinement. I would imagine a lot of players are going to have the opportunity to see the floor with so many games kind of packed into such a tight weekend. And I know that, the Medina Valley is probably going to get a lot of reps over at the NISD tournament as well, Coach.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about the NISD tournament, but before I keep forgetting to bring this point up. Hailey, that's not a virtual background, is it?
No, I'm coming to you guys live from Florida.
From Florida, yeah, how beautiful.
Yeah, coming to you live from Longboat Key, Florida.
There you go. All right, well, have fun over there, and thanks for being part of this podcast. We promise not to take too much of your Florida.
Wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't miss it.
All right. Well, over at Northside ISD, the 28 5A team participating there is Medina Valley. And Medina Valley is winless so far this season, 0-2, but they're playing some stiff competition. They've got losses to Bernie and let me give that a thought. They've got losses to Bernie and Tybee. Neither of those teams have lost a game, and now Medina Valley Panthers headed to Northside ISD for more stiff competition. over at the Northside ISD tournament. So the Panthers really stacking up their non-district competition with some heavy hitters, hoping to be set for that 28 5A district season that is not too far around the corner. Clara Arroyos and Ileana Morales leading the scoring attack for the Panthers like we expected them to, but they're being joined by senior Aubrey Davidson, who has really been on fire in the Panthers' first 2 games, and we expect her to be a heavy contributor for Medina Valley once the season gets underway. Heck, she's already a heavy contributor in the early part of the season. So Medina Valley always has someone in the pipeline, and we expect them to contend. They are the defending district champions. They were undefeated in district competition last year. So we'll watch them at Northside ISD tournament, as we will Southside, McCullum, Harlandale at the Harlandale ISD tournament.
That is girls basketball for tournament weekend coming up this weekend. Moving along, we are going to shout outs, and we're going to give that over to Hailey. She's going to recap some shout outs over the past year. What do we got?
Yeah, we had some shout outs that came through on social media over the last week or so. And Coach, I'll kind of let you talk a little bit more about that and just how we can continue to highlight athletes in the district. But our 3 shout outs that we have this week, Andrew Perez was highlighted as Whataburger's player to watch this week. No surprise, Bobby already talked about his record-breaking performance in the Frontier Bowl, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. So congratulations to Andrew Perez. Garrett Thiel, who plays on the Canyon Cougar football team, actually signed his national letter of intent to play baseball at New Mexico Junior College a couple of days ago. So big congratulations to Garrett and his family. That's always a really exciting time. And he's obviously a dual sport athlete playing football and baseball. So even cooler. And then lastly, Coach Villafranca just kind of shouted out the Medina Valley Panthers, but Ileana Morales, a senior on the team, actually scored her 1,000th career point earlier this week, which is a huge accomplishment. So congratulations to Ileana, her family, the rest of the team. I know it takes a lot of assists to make that happen, so congratulations to them. And Coach, if folks want to highlight their athletes or athletes want to highlight their teammates, how can people get some of this stuff in front of us over here at RC Audio Sports?
Hailey, we do our best to shine light on this district that we're covering, 28 5A across the sports. But we could always use a little help if on your social media accounts, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, if you would tag us, RC Audio Sports, it's more likely that we get to see these things that are going on. We do our best to do that without the tagging, but the tag would certainly help. And we invite you to do that as your season goes on. Congratulations to Andrew Perez, Garrett Thiel, and Ileana Morales, 1,000 points and the whole senior season ahead of her.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. And we'd love to, like Coach says and Hailey says, share that, what we come across, share that with you. So don't forget, give us that hashtag RC Audio Sports, and we'll more than likely be able to take a look at it and feature you on our Vodcast. So along with that, a little treat, if you will, for those of you that watched the KCWX broadcast of the 58th Annual Frontier Bowl. That's going to be our web gem. Hector Ledesma did a great job of calling the play that occurred, and we're going to let you see what that play is right now.
3rd and 7, the official down and distance. Sean, screwed. What an interception! You gotta be kidding me. 40, 35. What a fantastic catch by Jonathan Ruiz. Left-handed, went up, snagged it. One hand, and then the return.
He is pumped up. Look at him.
As well he should be.
Defensive lineman dream. He read that so well. He dropped back. See, he drops back right there. Tips it to himself. No, one hands it.
Odell.
Oh, boy. He's doing exactly what any one of us linemen would have done if we caught one of those.
Wow.
A little bit of a loop stunt there. He got in late into the pass rush, realized he was not going to get to the quarterback, pulled back just as you described, Bobby. Odell Beckham, the interception right there, one-handed interception. The Cowboys threatening again. The Indians threatening again.
Was he high-stepping at the end?
He might have.
Andrew Bettis going left, 25. First down yardage or near it on the first play on this new set of downs.
Oh, boy, of all games to get one of those kinds of interceptions, what about during your Frontier Bowl? You know he's going to talk about that forever.
On live TV, and he's got tape to prove it.
How amazing was that? Jonathan Ruiz with a fine interception. That play, just to watch live and see it develop was amazing. It was a treat in itself. I know he's still probably feeling really good about that interception. Again, I think that's going to be a memory of a lifetime for him. And again, on that stage with the Frontier Bowl, what a way to do it.
What a way to do it. And I think Hector Ledesma said that night, and he says, and video to prove it. So do you think Jonathan and the family have that a piece downloaded to a hard drive somewhere already? I know I certainly would. What a play.
We also want to say a special thank you to all the veterans. We are filming this or recording this episode on Veterans Day, so we want to take some time out on behalf of all the RC Audio Sports crew here, say thank you to all the veterans. Thank you for your service and everything that you do and for protecting our country. So thanks. We salute you. And that'll do it for episode 7 of the RC Audio Sports Vodcast. We want to thank our sponsors, Martinez & Associates, State Farm, Sonia Flores, Gilly International Group, On Par Golf, Motto Mortgage, Superior Tax Service. For Hailey Wilson, Coach Villafranca, and myself, until we stream again, you've been watching the RC Audio Sports Podcast.